Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about psychology and true crime. There is a case out of Australia that is called like the mushroom murders case. And with this case, the allegation is that Erin Patterson, she is currently on trial for an incident that happened back in 2023. She invited her in-laws, Don and Gail Patterson, and then also Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, and Ian Wilkinson. He's the only one that survived this dinner, and it's my understanding that everybody else's meal was on a white plate, and then she had so that Erin had a different colored plate, and her plate, of course, did not contain the toxic mushrooms that ended up unaliving this part of her ex-husband's family. She had invited her ex-husband to the meal as well, and he declined. And also with this case, some things that have come up is that she was gathering the family together to say that she had some serious health news to share with them. And she wanted to share that supposedly she had some type of cancer. It's my understanding it might have been like ovarian cancer or something, but it does not sound like she had cancer at all, and that this was all just a lie to take out a part of his family. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I also heard that an avid she was an avid true crime person too, and don't do crimes. Okay, here on this channel, that is one of my mottos. We are psych nerds, and we also say don't do crimes. But it's my understanding that she liked true crime. Uh, she it's because they have the receipts for her buying the ingredients, the puff pastry, the meat, and the mushrooms, and the different items that were served at this meal, that she bought them several times in different quantities, and that's where I wonder if she was practicing, like, what I wonder so but we don't know why she had different quantities, because I think they have at least 3 receipts where she went buying these things. Um, Lisa asked the question, do I believe that she intended to unalive them, or was she trying to gain attention? I don't know. So honestly, y'all can let me know y'all's thoughts on that question in the chat. She knew enough to not ingest any of it herself. So, and it's my understanding that when she was asked what happened, why did she serve these wild toxic mushrooms, she said that they have more flavor, that like wild fungi have more flavor. But and so she initially tried to call it a terrible accident. Um, and I think I think she's testifying, in this case, 'cause, this BBC article I'm looking at said on her 2nd day on the witness stand, um, she began foraging for wild mushrooms during the COVID pandemic, years before the fatal meal. So I guess that's what she's saying. Um, the meal that was served was beef Wellington, and ABC Australia, because there's been some good coverage of this case. That's how I've looked up um, some research on this one, and also thank you to the psych nerd that emailed me a link to a podcast that covers this case really well. That information was really helpful as I was preparing. And I will put a link to the BBC article and then also to the 9 News Australia on YouTube. They also have some recaps and things. Because let me just pause this because they have pictures of some of the meal. So let me show this to you all. All right. All right. And in Australia, they don't have cameras in the hearing. So people have been covering this. And based on notes people are taking. And then also, there are some sketches that have come out. Um, I believe this was the husband's in laws. And then let me go back. I think it won't play it. Okay. It just did it in the preview. But the meal was beef Wellington, green beans, mashed potatoes, and it's my understanding that the toxic mushrooms were in the beef Wellington. All right. And so this case is very sad. Um, oh, yeah, she also tried to say that she got it at an Asian market, and so we have a little sprinkle of that as well, and so good gosh. Uh-oh. Yeah, alright. I hope the other live because I and thank you, to Becoming Unfiltered for letting me know that because hopefully the transfer here went smooth. Alright, and so let's see. All right. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. And so that's where I wonder if her true target was her ex-husband too, or if somehow she was trying to hurt her ex-husband. Um, People are also saying that she used a dehydrator to sneak the mushrooms into meals, but I thought her children didn't test positive for it. I could be wrong with that. Uh, Paul reporting live from my sofa. He's also been covering this case too. Um, all right. And then a lot of people are comparing this to Corey Richins as well. All right. Like, why do people it's just it's sad when people try to say it was somebody from the global majority when this was her. So it wasn't anyone else. Like this was her. She didn't harm herself at all. So it was only because remember there was a separate plate just for her. Let me see that. Let me share this image. So these were the plates. As I mentioned, everybody else's plate was white and hers was clearly different. And so that's where I don't think she had any intention, me personally, and just listening to what's come out with this case, I don't think she wanted to harm herself at all. And now if I ever go to a to a meal and everybody else has a different colored plate, I don't know if I'm gonna eat. Like that's just weird. Um I'm just nope. If we all got one color and you got another color, mm-mm, no thanks. Oh, okay. So maybe it was trying to be a murder suicide. Okay. That it might be that if when her husband canceled, she decided not to do hers. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And there is, like I said, there's a lot of coverage. I will put links in the description once I go back for this to put some more detailed information on this. The Lori Vallow stuff caught me off guard this morning because my whole YouTube feed was Lori Vallow got kicked out of court, and so that that derailed some of the time that I had set aside to listen to more of the podcast on this one. Um, And, as I mentioned, there were 3 people that died. There was 1 survivor, and, um, and the type of mushroom is called a death cap mushroom, that was in the food that she served, and, um, wow. Because I thought it was ex-husband, but they might just be estranged, estranged. Like, maybe I don't know that their divorce is final. And, somebody also noted that in Australia, they have solicitors and barristers, 'cause I think she has a barrister, and that there can be a difference between the 2 of those, and so it does sound like she has a private attorney. Yeah. She bought a small food dehydrator in 2023, in part because wild mushrooms had such a small season. She wanted to preserve them for later use. Mm. She couldn't remember the specific purchase, but had previously bought a variety of mushrooms. And then they list different types of mushrooms. Let me know with a QQQ if y'all have specific questions about this one. Um, Yeah. The court was shown expletive-laden Facebook messages that, Erin had sent to a private group chat, which were critical of Simon, Dawn, and Gail. And so Simon is her ex-husband, husband. Gail is his mother, and Don is his father. So that she was critical of her husband and, her in-laws, and that she said, "I needed to vent to get frustration off my chest." Becoming emotional. So in court, she tried to talk about how much she loved, Dawn and Gail. It's my understanding that, because I think her husband testified, and maybe what they're saying ex, because maybe he's divorced her since all of this. Maybe that's become final, because I've seen reportings that he's her ex-husband. But it's my understanding that his testimony was pretty emotional. Um, and my heart goes out because Gail has two children, and um, uh, and it did come out in court that she experienced a lot of health anxiety and did a lot of doctor Googling, searching the web about symptoms, which at different points in time led her to falsely suspect that she had a brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, and ovarian cancer. So there are types of somatization, and I don't know if she had any of this, but there's health anxiety where, like, I get a pain and then all of a sudden I think my appendix is broken. And then there's somatic symptoms where people use somatic complaints to try to get, but like where emotional symptoms are presenting in physical ways. And I don't know which one she had. She did admit in court that she's never been diagnosed with ovarian cancer, despite telling the lunch guests at her house that that was her diagnosis. But I guess she does have a family history of it. Um, Court is going to continue. I think they're in it's like week 5 or 6. This trial has been going on for a while, and um uh yes, they just started the 6th week of this trial. All right, let me go back to the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. So she had Munchausen tendencies, and so that's where, they call it factitious disorder. So I don't know enough about her symptoms, because Munchausen's is clearly the attention, that's to get attention. Some somatic disorders and somatic complaints, they might not try to get attention for it. So without assessing her, I of course would not be able to say exactly which one of those. I could see it possibly being either. And then and then so I don't know if she has a history of making false complaints, excessive lying, those things. Does anybody know the approximate ages of her children? Um, let's see. Let me see if I can find that. Because I do believe that they were there because they all went to the hospital, and I think she left before her and the children were tested, which looks suspicious, which looked very, very suspicious. And I think she's told different versions of what's happened throughout this process. They have interviews, video and audio recorded interviews that were taken, and um so excuse me. Um yeah, the children ate leftovers of the beef Wellington um after the other relatives became ill the previous day. Just what? Yeah. It's a very, very sad case. Thank you for being here. All right, let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions. If the children are young and if the children have been, because they might wanna look into the medical records if they haven't. Somebody is saying at the time, the children were 9 and 16. That is that is what people are saying. Alright. Super duper, super duper sad case. Um And then, somebody mentioned that she says she scraped off the mushrooms, but it's more likely that she had, a non-poisonous, beef Wellington for herself. That does make more sense, especially with her different color plate. Um, yeah, it's just super. Like, um, I've been following this case, ever since I first heard about it. They talk about her having a low self-esteem and her being unhappy, and that she was considering gastric bypass surgery, but none of those things should cause you to unalive your ex-husband's family. Like, that's not how that works. How Erin Patterson met her family. Um, uh So they met in 2004 at work, and they were friends at first, and then they started dating, married in 2007. And um all right. And then I guess Patterson said she was very atheist when she met Simon, and that she was trying to convert him to being an atheist, but things happened in reverse. She became a Christian, which, like, this is not very Christianly. So Uh, um, she said that she had a spiritual experience during a church service in 2005. Uh, she described having a traumatic birth with her first child, ended up having an emergency C-section, and then her son spent some time in the ICU. She discharged herself against medical advice so that she could be home with her newborn. Wow, wow, wow. Um, Looks like the couple separated for the first time in 2009, and then they reunited in 2010 and had a second child. Just there's it's wow. Okay. And I have heard cases where people they separate and they just never legally get married. Sometimes people stay married for the children, and that's not necessarily better. So staying legally married just for the children. Some people stay legally married to like stay on insurance, or they're still friends. They just don't work well in the same household. So I have heard of people being separated and staying married. And then as I mentioned, reporting live from my sofa, Paul has done a really good job covering this one. He has. Um 'Cause often when we take a look at cases like this, we're like, "What could cause somebody to do something like this?" And there could have been a lot of hate, animosity, upset feelings, at towards her husband, towards the in-laws. But if she did this, and if she had invited her husband, so that's where there's a question mark of would she have done this to herself too? Would she have also done this to the children if the husband had been there? Because people can get um, have situations where they say like, if I can't have you, no one can have you, which is extremely toxic. And in healthy relationships, you should be able to leave. So in a healthy relationship, we should be able to say like, hey, we can be happy even if we're not together. The kids can be happy even if we're not together, in a healthy dynamic. It does not sound like this was healthy, and you definitely should not stay married only for religious reasons. If you're gonna continue to, like, if you're gonna do crimes, you just don't do crimes. She testified that she was lying to her in-laws, telling them that she had, ovarian cancer from a cyst on her elbow, which is weird. Like, how do like, and so I heard that reporting about like because she had something on her elbow, but how does you have? Oh, I don't know. Like that just. Mm. Does anyone know if in the Australia court system, a defendant has the same or similar rights to not take a stand? That's a great question. I'm not sure. It does sound like she did take the stand. I think she wanted to tell her story. I think she wanted the jury to hear her part. Sadly, in a close county, there was a recent somebody unalived themselves, their spouse, and two of their children. And those cases just break my heart because if somebody's having those types of thoughts, if things are getting to that place, please get help. Please reach out for help and support. Um, the so that somebody does not hurt themselves and that they don't hurt anybody else either. That is extremely troubling. Um, I love y'all's sarcasm in the chat. And sometimes people can have growths that spread, but that was not her situation. I'm pretty sure even Google wouldn't have said ovarian cancer if you say I have a cyst on my elbow. Mm, yeah. All right. Yeah. Northwest, I agree with, like, first of all, I don't think people should take themselves out either, but definitely don't take anybody else. And so, let me see the super chats. Thank you for being a member. Julie, thank you for gifting a membership as well. And then Sarah, thank you. She tried to vanilla ice him. Used to talk rip about your brain like poisonous mushrooms. So I don't remember that song. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that song if that's a Vanilla Ice song. I did used to listen to Vanilla Ice. Ice, ice, baby. Don't. That's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the day. Sky Zone has really good music, and the kids do not appreciate it. Do not appreciate it at all. Here's a question. Had got gastric in 2010. Um, I know a lot about transfer addictions. Never heard of this reaction to surgery. So I don't think so she had low self-esteem and she was considering getting gastric bypass surgery. I don't think she ever did. So she never got surgery. Okay. Sky Zone. So, like, Sky Zone? Like, Like, they were playing today. It was Christina Aguilera. It was like a rap version of Genie in a Bottle, and I was like, I it Sky Zone can sound like the club sometimes. Like, it really, but the kids do not appreciate it at all. They just don't. We were there at almost like 9 o'clock one morning, and they were like, and they had a kids version of the club is jumpin' jumpin', like, but it wasn't, they didn't say club, they said something else, was jumpin', it wasn't club, it was like a kids bop version. It was, it was way too early, but my kiddo loves it. So, Sky Zone, they have, memberships where, so it's a jump park. Your area might have some other type of jump park. Trampolines can be dangerous, you have to be careful. If you have littles, go early because it becomes, after we leave no later than, like, 12 o'clock, because that place is the kids go everywhere. So yeah. Alright. Alright. Oh, so some people mentioned that she might have gained weight, maybe wasn't feeling good about herself, and that's where, I encourage people to take care of themselves. People can fall into deep depression. There is a such thing as food addiction, that because you have to eat. So alcohol addiction, substance addiction, those things are different because, um, I can live without drinking alcohol. You can't live without eating food. And so when people have food addiction, that can be really difficult, or if they have an unhealthy relationship with food. It also, so when you eat, your brain releases dopamine, like you get happy thoughts. If you feel good after you eat. I had Five Guys for lunch. Oh, I feel so good. Sometimes you can crash if you have like a lot of carbs, a lot of sugar. There can be crashes after, but with um, so, and then having children, the stress and things that can come along if there was conflict within a relationship, but that's where you go to therapy. You talk about it. You don't do crimes. Don't do crimes. You get help and support. You take care of yourself, which is easier said than done. It's easier said than done. Uh, so I know that, Paul Paul live on my sofa is covering it. I might cover the verdict, or if there's something major that happens, because y'all know I just go live twice a day, so twice a week. I go live twice a week, and, I have some time off coming up. Mm. So we will see. Because I do think Lori is gonna be convicted again. We'll see. I think Lori's probably gonna be convicted, so I'm gonna keep covering that one. Um, but yeah. But let me know if y'all have specific questions about this one. You can put it over in the in the chat. Therapy is awesome. Don't do crimes. All right. So I've been hanging out with y'all since like 1:40 today, and it's now 3:11 my time. I thank y'all for hanging out with me today. And on Tuesday morning, I'm going live with another therapist. We are going, and she's Dr. Barry too. We connected on TikTok because there was somebody that was stealing my videos and stealing her videos and posting them to their account, but like, and they were saying that they were Dr. Barry, but they weren't, and like they were stealing both of our videos, and so that's how we connected. She's looking at starting a private practice, and so we're gonna get together to talk about starting. I'm a private practice, and so if you ever look for me over on TikTok, I have one account. It's at Dr. Patrice Berry with no numbers, no nothing else, spelled correctly, because there are like 6 to 8 fake accounts over there that aren't me. So those fake accounts will ask you, I don't know, like they'll spam, they'll do weird things. So do not connect with any of the fake accounts. Unfortunately, TikTok isn't good about taking them down. On Instagram, I paid for the verified one, where if somebody tries to impersonate me, I can get the account taken down, because that happened this past year. And so, but TikTok doesn't offer anything like that. So yeah, I don't want any of your personal information. I don't want, like, I don't I don't sell crypto. I don't I don't do any of those things. If I do a fundraiser, it'll be live, like, you'll see my face, I will talk about it. It'll be on one of my channels that have my handle, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I have very good boundaries, very, very good boundaries, and I encourage you all to do the same. It really helps, and I love your name, couldn't Karen less. I I adore that name. So, like, I watch too much of Voidzilla, The Void, and then CoffeeZilla for all the, like, people that do weird stuff, and so I just can't. I like hanging out with y'all. I will see y'all on Tuesday. Have a good one. Bye.